Yo, what's going on YouTube fam? I'm Sue, and it's time once again to talk about Etheria Restart. I don't think it's much of a secret that over the last month or so, I've kind of fallen out of love for the game. You can kind of see that there's not as much content as there was back in June here on the channel. And that's just because the state of Etheria has had me very frustrated for a long period of time. I am a YouTuber that primarily makes guides for new players, mid-game players, but largely free-to-play and low spenders. I don't like putting my guides to, filled with LD SSR characters. I feel like that turns a lot of people away. Makes people really upset at the game because it's like, oh, I don't have insert rare unit, I can't do this. And so if you're going to teach somebody how to clear something, I think that you should, you owe it to the community to try to do it as free-to-play friendly as possible. And that's what I tried to do with my Terramaton guides and my Doki Doki guides when they first came out. And I had one for Aurora, but obviously that got pulled because of all the changes with Aurora back in June. And I just haven't been really enjoying the game for a bit because as a content creator, a lot of the really hard content would require things like, oh, you need, the SSR LD Sonya when dot teams were all the rage. Like now there's alternatives to it, but they still require specific SSRs. Like even Doki Doki to this day, it still kind of requires an SSR character to at least get a decent clear. I'm sure with Nell coming out, there's probably something you could do that's a bit more free to play friendly, but that kind of spills over into the next argument, which is we just don't get enough lattices. I feel like at least the premium like gold lattices for SSR characters to really like experiment with a lot of this stuff. So overall, I've just been very frustrated with the PvE aspect of the game, which makes it very difficult for me to want to approach the PvP aspect of the game. And again, I think that's largely due to the fact that the way that they've decided to approach PvE hasn't really been great, so to speak, right? We just have a lot of content that requires very specific SSRs, Rengokutsu Inferno being like chief amongst them. Like that's like the one piece of content where it's like, do you have Kloss? If you don't have Kloss, you can't really do this free to play. And I know it's held up a lot of people, a lot of my friends, like my best friend in particular. He just hasn't been able to do it because he doesn't have specific stuff. And they tried to combat that recently with the recent Wishbinder event, which is what I covered last time here on the channel for Etheria. But that was like, hey, if you put 100 summons into our game, then you could get the thing to attempt to try to progress through this piece of content that has a lot of very important shells that you're gonna need for either speed farming, so that way you can keep up with the rest of the player base, or actually jump into PvP. So like, I just don't like the way that the progression system is set up. And I've voiced my concerns plenty to the devs at this point. And as you can see here on your screen, this is a developer update that just went up last night. And I want to actually read through it and talk about, what it means for the game. Because I'm really hopeful that they could kind of right the ship. Because right now, a lot of people that I talk to have, either dropped the game because they are frustrated with the state of progression. They're thinking about dropping it because there's not a lot going on in the game. And then there is another group of people that I have talked to that very much still play the game and love the game and all that. But I feel like that group of people, while they are still plentiful, those are the people that have, the stars kind of aligned for them. They have the right characters. They're able to clear all of the content in the game, and that's why they feel the way that they feel about the game. Anyways, let's read this and see what, if anything, is coming for Etheria Restart. So they start off by saying, hey, hyperlinkers. We know it's been a while since you've heard directly from us, and we want to start by saying thank you for sticking with us. All of us here believe strongly in the long-term success of this game and want you to know we're not going anywhere. Well, that's pretty reassuring, because I've heard people say things like they're afraid that the game won't last like 3-4 months. So that's good to hear. We've seen your feedback, especially around communication, game balance, time invest issues, PvP meta, events, and much more. So it seems like they are, at least these are the core issues are communication, game balance, time investment, and then I guess PvP meta. Like these are, I think, the core things, at least for me, that I have issues with right now. We're making major strides behind the scenes to keep improving the game using your feedback and our own personal experiences as the driver. Today we want to give you a transparent look at what's coming, what is actively in progress, and how your voice is shaping the future of the game. Number 1, improving communication and community involvement. We're communicating to more active dialogue within the community. Today's post is the first example, but when important opportunities arise, we'll be empowering community discussion on specific topics that we need feedback on. For example, later on in this post, we will be discussing the RTA meta and we'll be asking for your thoughts and contributions on the topic for us to read so we don't make decisions that may be out of touch with the general player base. Previously, we had nerf Revelation due to many community complaints, but this came with many consequences and has given us more to correct. This is actually true. I was one of the people that thought Revelation should get nerfed, especially after EWS. I've come to realize that that was kind of wrong. Players hadn't really developed their, bruisers on their account and their tanks and things like that. And I still think tanks are kind of weak, but bruisers are very, very strong. And nerfing Revelation makes them feel nigh impossible to kill. Some of these people are playing these really tanky bloodbath comps, and you just can't kill them if they have sustain. You just don't do enough damage. And I feel like a little bit of a moron, if I'm being honest with you, that I didn't see this coming, because my chief complaint in the beta, right, back in the beta and even the final test, was that damage in Etheria felt overall too low. And I should have known that if we nerfed the one really strong offensive option that there was in the game, that we would go back to have a damage feel way too low in the game. So now we're just in this bruiser hell meta, and that's all largely due to Revelation nerf. And then obviously it makes correct me if I'm wrong, but it does make damage a little bit lower in PvE as well. I haven't really been paying attention too much to the numbers in PvE because my teams that already use Revelation, they still clear as if they have always. We want to be very careful towards with balancing out the meta, and hearing your voices in constructive detail will be very important on topics like these, especially as the experience between top players and casual players can differ greatly and create a complex challenge to overcome. This is actually true. I have said this before as somebody who has done balancing on games. You need to balance for both. I always hear oh, only balance for the top players, their voices are the ones that matter, right? If you look at League of Legends historically, certain assassins, back in the day, Katarina, for example, and Evelyn, these characters back in season 1, season 2, they made games miserable for low rank players, and top ranked players didn't even care about them, so they nerfed them into the ground so that way casual experience was much better. But then people who like to play these characters at top level were very frustrated because the character was already niche there and you just made it unplayable. So if you balance only towards the casuals, the top players get frustrated. If you balance only towards the top players, then there's going to be some scenarios where your casual audience, which is the bulk of your audience, will just end up leaving. So it is a very, very complex challenge. They are not underselling how complicated this is. Of course, these moments won't be happy all of the time, but there are sure to be scenarios like the one above that require greater detailed focus. So we want you to know this is something we believe is to be important. I'm glad that they're double stressing, that they recognize how difficult that issue actually is. So, number 2, time sync solutions of progress. We hear you. The endgame grind can feel like a chore sometimes, especially when there are many tasks and events to complete each day alongside of regular gear and shell farming. This is actually true. They always have 2 to 3 events running at the same time. They always have one in the events tab that's running at all time, and then 2 under challenges. And so Etheria as a game, right? If I want to do my dailies in a Hoyoverse game like Zenless Zone Zero, I don't necessarily really have to play for more than 8 to 10 minutes. I could do my dailies in maybe 2 minutes, and then I'd spend 6 minutes to run out my stamina. That's pretty much how that game goes. Epic 7, right? I could do my dailies in Epic 7, assuming arena, if I quick battle arena and everything, probably get another 6 to 10 minutes. I feel like you can't meaningfully get through everything you need to get through in Etheria in less than a half hour, right? And sometimes based on your account and what you're trying to farm, for example, I'm currently farming Rengokutsu Inferno, it takes me 3.5 minutes to run. So for me to run out all my stamina is going to be quite a lot of time. So I'm glad they are at least aware of that. Our team is currently trying to figure out the best solutions, especially for our long-term players. We're exploring ways to preserve the health of early game autoing while introducing smarter, less time-intensive farming options for the late game. Increasing available auto clears in the early game can be risky, as new players tend to be less efficient with using resources until they have more knowledge and experience. Yeah, so this is the problem that I was having. At least it can be like it is an issue, right? So if I invested in a certain character that I liked, right? Like, to give you an example, I pulled Mio early on in my my Etheria career, and I think she's a very strong character in PvP. So I wanted to have this character available for playing PvP on the weekends and stuff like that. So I invested like 10 lattices into the character, and as a result, my farming teams have all suffered, right? Because I didn't realize, like, oh, I wouldn't have all of the necessary pieces in place. So that's kind of rough, right? And that's one of my like big gripes that I have, and it is largely like my fault here, right? Because when I was new and I didn't realize how important certain characters would be to be like speed farming things like Aurora Inferno, Rengokutsu Inferno, right? Had I known that I would need extra lattice and Kloss or this other character, right? Or like Real Mocha, I probably would not have dumped everything into Mio, because it really did hinder my progress, right? If you guys have ideas you'd like us to consider, keep in mind, feel free to submit feedback threads specifically addressing this topic. I actually really like that they're asking us. They're like literally asking us. If you go into the Discord, there is a feedback form where you could open up a thing, like, you know, kind of like a support ticket, and you could post your thoughts on it, or you could find like-minded individuals who have already expressed ideas over this topic and put something up there. Like, honestly, I might do something here once I get like a decent idea, because I do think that they need to address the early game auto like grind to help people get into the game, and I would like them to do it in such a way where you don't need to use lattices, because lattices are just such a huge time gate right now, and the earlier we could get the community up and running on Infernos without using lattices, that's going to be a really good thing. I really truly believe that. Ember Trek, we know many of you have been sharing feedback and commenting on your fears of having to continually repeat this game mode in the long term. We do believe having a game mode where you're able to see the main character and Shaku interact and move around is important, but we also understand that some middle ground needs to be found here. Our current solution that will be implemented next reset will be the ability to auto-clear previously completed floors under the normal difficulty. You will need to fight the last floor boss manually. For now, hard difficulty still require manual gameplay. This will be cut. This is actually a genius change, because like, every month when they reset Ember Trek, I just breeze through all the normal stuff, and it takes me like 2 hours, 3 hours to get through everything in the normal difficulty, even though I could just hit auto and walk away and I have like no fear of losing. And it's only really the hard ones that I actually care about. And every month doing just one set of floors, I don't think is that big of an ask. This is very similar to other gacha games. They have like a once per month you do the hard difficulty of some kind of dungeon or gameplay mode that resets. That's very much in line with other games. I think having to go through the same exact thing twice, once on like basically easy and then once on hard, yeah, this is a good change. I really think this is an amazing change. Anti-Sync Echoes and Union Boss will now support 5x battles. For Anti-Sync, that's great. I'll do you one better though. XD, Union Boss should be able to be background battle. Like, you should be able to continuously battle it. I know that it's going to be 5x, but it still takes, for some fights, at least for me, like 8 to 10 minutes on Union Boss for 3x, right? At 5x speed, that's still looking like maybe 4 or 5 minutes or something like that. It's still just going to be too long. It's still going to have like a similar issue. And while we're at it, Phantom Theater, please give me the option to just end it early once me and my partner get to Triple S. We get to Triple S super fast, and then we just sit there for like 6 minutes waiting and hoping to die. Right? That's... I feel like Phantom Theater could also use this quality of life change. Like, maybe not 5x, but like, let me end it early or background battle it, please. I'm begging you. Number 3, a healthier approach to monetization, which is kind of crazy because I actually think that the monetization of this game is quite good. We're actively working on more rewarding, player-friendly monetization options that feel good to support and enhance your enjoyment of the game while also respecting your time. Future purchases will focus more on value, choice, and utility. Some ideas we are having would involve both gameplay benefits and rewards, resource rewards, offering cheap daily stamina packs. So what $1 stamina packs I'm all here for. You want to throw those at me, I'm all here for that. I usually am a very low spender in a lot of games, and I think that like $1 stamina packs, those are premium, man. They're one of the only items that I like always feel like is worth the time and the money. And potential adjustments to what is currently available in our weekly shops. Feel free to suggest ideas in our feedback section as well. Anima skins. Actually, I was going to say this is actually one of the things. It's my favorite example to talk about. Anima skins. We know very few. We know a few unique anima skins are already in the works. Yeah. So as like part of being a CC, they give me like resources to get like the skins and stuff to show them off. And I've been pretty unimpressed with it, which is why you haven't really seen me, like, you know, make any videos talking about skins, what I think about them and whatnot, because they're just not really up to snuff. But tying these two together, I think one of the best monetization options in gachas is actually in Goddess of Victory. Nikkei, if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, you know how much I love talking about the $20 skins in Nikkei, because it's $20, you get a skin, it has a unique model, it has unique sound effects, unique particle effects, sometimes it has like 1 or 2 new voice lines, and then you also get 3 multis on the gacha with it, and also some materials like gold, or to be able to enhance your weapons and things like that, right? So I think that that is like a slam dunk home run monetization option. Like, I can't tell you how many $20 skins I bought in that game, because it's like, oh, I like this character, I want the skin. Ooh, $20 is steep for a skin, but it comes with a bunch of stuff. And like, that makes me, that always is the tipping point, because it just feels like such insane value. Because if I was to buy like 3 multis alone in that game, it would cost me like 30 something dollars. So to buy the skin and get like a one-time burst of resources always feels so good in that game. Like, I never feel like it's like purchase wasted, because I get a cool cosmetic I really wanted, and I don't feel that like guilt or that, you know, whatever it comes, like whatever feeling like washes over me there, where I'm like, man, I really spent $20 on a PNG. I mean, it's a game. Everything you put into it eventually will be lost when the servers go away. But you get my point. Like, it doesn't feel as bad to be like, I'm getting progression and also something on the side. It feels really good. PvP meta and real-time RTA considerations. PvP has been a hot topic, and we're taking it seriously, as it will be the core of our game for years to come. We'll be collaborating directly with top RTA players in the wider community to evaluate and address the meta concerns. I'm glad they say the wider community. I'm going to say this again. Top RTA players should not be the only people you consult on this, because the play of the high end is not the play of the casual player. And I have found also, you know, because I've done this. I've been a top player in a game. I've been hired as a consultant along with other top players, and my background has some game design in it, whereas other top players might not. And they will usually suggest buffing their favorite archetype to play, or like, you know, nerfing the thing that it beats their strategy, and then it makes like really unbalanced, unfun metagames. And that's why I'm like, encourage you, don't only talk to top players. Please, 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 please. They most likely will have a good idea, and I'm not saying that they're going to do something malicious like that, but it has happened, and you can't just only go off of that. Like, I am begging you. I would, if I was them, I would ask top RTA players, I would ask content creators, and I would also poll the wider community on every issue before you make your decision, right? And then take all that into consideration and do what you think is best for your game. Don't do what just only the casuals want. Don't do only what content creators want. Don't only do what top RTA players want. Do with, once you have all the data, do what you think is the best for your game. A mid-season balance patch is under heavy consideration. Please, like I just said, I know that they made this promise that they wouldn't do anything until the end of the season, but from everything I'm seeing, it is just bruiser hell. Like, it's just holding hell, basically. So, yeah, I think this is a pretty good idea. Although we stated previously we only make adjustments between seasons, we have already shown just recently with Lilium that we are open to adjustments as long as it feels necessary or something has not met our design expectations. Back to the original topic. After receiving lots of feedback from our community, we believe it may be better to avoid waiting 2 months to fix major pain points given current feelings towards RTA. So please let us know your thoughts about this in our feedback channels. Again, check that Discord, guys and girls. In general, though, we hope to stick to our original plan and make most major changes between seasons, so our future development will keep this in mind. In our last season adjustment, we had nerfed Revelation due to many complaints about it feeling unfun and demotivating for players, especially in lower RTA. Although this change was heavily requested with the community, it came with unexpected consequences that allowed the bruiser meta to dominate. Unfortunately, sometimes during testing, we may not always be able to predict exactly how the meta with hundreds of thousands of players will develop, giving us a sign that we need to be more directly involved with our player base when making these decisions. Many would argue the current meta is much less engaging than the previous season, and we want to fix it as soon as possible, and no solution should be found with what tools are currently available. Yeah, see, this is exactly it. So, this is basically, you know, a symptom of, I guess, cleave in these kind of games. Cleave is always a very popular strategy, and when cleave is like the base floor, like in Etheria, cleave is like by far the easiest thing to gear and play in this game, whereas other games I've played, it's not, right? Bruisers is usually the common easy thing to play in Epic 7, right? In this game, cleave is the very obvious easy thing to play, so when people don't have resources to develop bruisers or tanks or supports, then cleave just becomes the stock standard. So low level is just filled with a ton of cleave, and cleave is always like the worst feeling thing in these types of games, because you're brand new, you don't know what you're doing, you're like, oh, let's try out this PvP game mode, and then you just get cleave every single game, and it's demoralizing, which is what they're saying here. It feels unfun and demotivating. So like, cleave should not be the base option. I think what they should do is they should put probably Revelation back, and they should probably introduce some low SR characters that don't need a lot of investment, that are strong frontliners for newer players. Like that could be an interesting option. Maybe not right away, because right now there's this sentiment that like turn 2 bruisers tanks is the best thing in the game. So eventually you want to get players into the habit of like developing characters like Red Rin, for example, I feel like at the start of the game, rather than having cleave be the default, like de facto option for most new players, the one that requires the least investment to do well with. All right. Given that, we would encourage you to create feedback posts or give it your thoughts about what a potential mid-season balance patch should look like. We would appreciate input from both high-level players and those who are more casual. Let us know what your experience feels like in detail and what rank you are when creating a thread on this topic. We are open to exploring and considering many ideas, whether it be something like nerfing Bloodbath slightly in PvP only, buffing unused DPS shells, or considering something like reverting our previous season nerf. Yeah, I think if you brought back Revelation and then also nerf Bloodbath slightly, I don't think that that's that unreasonable, right? I think everyone was just short-sighted in the Revelation changes. Long term, we want PvP to feel fair, dynamic, and rewarding at every level. We're aware that the gap can be quite steep for the average player when wanting to compete in RTA, so many of our upcoming changes in general will focus directly in helping players reach a competitive level. We know that our casual players tend not to have enough time to grind and compete at a high level this early in the season, especially when our content can be quite challenging, but we are hoping... Okay, at least they're aware. That like, me personally, I am somebody who likes to strive and get like really high rank in PvP, but I have not really touched RTA in Etheria Restart, and that is literally just because of this, especially when our content is quite challenging, right? I am somebody who is a very low spender in these types of games, and I know that like whales will have more of an advantage than me. They're always going to have more of an advantage to me, but I like trying to work around that and, you know, find my niche and be able to like punch above my weight class and get really high ranks in these types of games despite being a low spender. But the way that the game is currently structured, it's really hard to get into it. I can't actually develop the things that I need to combat specific types of teams. Like, I just now have gotten around to like getting my like anti-control characters up, but I'm still missing like certain bruisers and things like that, right? I just don't have the resources to develop them the way that I want to. All right, part 6, gear customization upgrades. We're making big changes to how to build and equip your characters. The module essence shop is being overhauled to allow more flexibility. In addition to the random way to obtain modules in the module shop, in the future, players could also buy modules, confirm main attributes and sub attributes. Thank God. All right, this is like something that every game has, right? You're just getting, you'd go to craft a module, and it's like, okay, it just has like random, it's got the right, you know, the right set, but everything else is just random. So this will be really, really good. A new gear crafting system is wrapping up development and will be included in an upcoming patch designed to give you greater control over the builds without relying on RNG alone. This system will release to the players as an event that will routinely occur at least once a month. All right, this is a great idea. I think being able to craft gear in a game like this is necessary. It's super weird that it wasn't this way to begin with, right? You know, you essentially how it works is you farm threshold, you get resources after every run, you use those resources kind of like a gear pity to get the things that you need in case you just have been farming for weeks and just haven't found that one specific piece. Like, that's the whole point of it. And it's in every other game I've ever played, it's always open. It is always a thing that you can do. Right now, and they're saying it's going to be an event that will routinely occur at least once a month. I think this is a big miss unless the new gear crafting system is vastly better than the other types of gear crafting I've seen in other games. If you make it so that it's only once a month, but the gear crafting lets me basically pick the piece, the main stat, and the subs. I mean, obviously I still have to go through RNG on rolling it, but if it does all that, then I'm like, yeah, that's good. Because then it's more akin to like our tennis crafting event in E7 that comes around like every 4 to 8 weeks, give or take, and lets you kind of just make pieces with like perfect subs, right? But you still have to roll them, get good RNG on that part. That would be great. But having it be, once per month, but it's the same stock standard gear crafting that every other game has, that's a miss in my opinion. All right, yeah, so they've got some pictures here of what it looks like. Please select the matrix. Please select the beta attribute, right? And then you could choose these. Okay. Wait, refined attribute. Okay. All right, so can you change stuff? Okay, yeah, so it looks like you can choose the subs. Okay. All right, so then maybe this might not actually be that bad. This actually looks pretty good. So, because based on these screenshots, it looks like this, because you can see the arrow here, right? So I have a piece that has ER, attack, F, flat attack, and they change it, or it looks like you could randomly re-roll it. So you could lock the attack. So it is like our tennis crafting event, where you will eventually get pieces that have the correct subs. It's just not going to be, you can't just pick them outright. You'll just be able to eventually spend currency, lock in the ones you want, and then you just keep going until you get the one you want. Okay. This actually looks like this is pretty good. This is exactly what I was asking for. Inferno Rengokutsu help is on the way. We know Inferno Rengokutsu boss has been a wall for many of you, and we're addressing it directly. A new banner is coming that features a character specifically designed to help crush Rengokutsu and other challenging PvE content. Each animus has been tested in various ways, specifically against Rengokutsu. We found the con to be much easier. There will be multiple strategies and synergies available with their kits. For example, try them out with Lilium. More details on these upcoming anime will this weekend. All right, I'm gonna say this right now. I think this is a bad idea. All right, definitely great idea that you're trying to address Inferno Rengokutsu. Right now, so there's a banner with characters that are specifically designed to help crush Rengokutsu. Like, I think that you shouldn't be. This is base content, right? Like, if this was like a new challenging event that came out and you wanted to sell characters to help you get like decent at that, I'm fine. Rengokutsu is very important for pretty much the entire player base to get into PvP, which is the major selling point of the game. Like, not having Lighthouse, not having Codex, right? These are just like huge things that you just have to have on your account, and they are boxed behind this this level. And you're basically saying, oh, we recognize it's very difficult. Please spend money or resources to get this thing that we are releasing. And it's like, well, if I don't have resources, like, you're basically telling me that I have to buy the solution. And I don't think that that's a good look. I really don't think that that's a good look at all. I don't know. You guys can tell me how you feel in the comment section below. But I don't really like it when essentially mandatory content you need to be able to clear to play the video game, you have to spend money to get the character. I don't like it. I don't like Rift in E7 for that same reason. I don't like it here. Right? I don't think that basic building blocks should be gated behind specific characters. That's the problem we're having right now with Kloss. Now you're telling me, oh, you don't have Kloss, here's another banner that could do it as well. Like, it better be, I'm going to assume because it's the guy on the left that he's the SR and this waifu is the SSR. Maybe they're both SSRs. I don't know. But hopefully one of them is an SR and is super easy to get. And that's the character that crushes Rengokutsu, and the other is just like a decent option for it, and then you could use it like elsewhere in the game. But I really do not like having to spend to get a specific thing to clear core content that is needed just to be able to get into RTA. Like, I can't even get into RTA if I don't have certain shells in this metagame. The release of anime like these is a part of a wider effort to bring more strategic counters and tools into the roster for both PvE and PvP. Future events. We have seen your feedback regarding recent events. We want to know we are listening. Many players have been discussing dissatisfaction with the RNG in our latest Dreamscape event. Although there were many players who were able to receive incredible rewards, we understand this is not the case for everyone. This is definitely true. I've had two friends, one that went all lattices. I should say both friends went all lattices. One got nothing, felt it was a scam. The other walked away with like 2 like perfect lattices worth of stuff, which is kind of insane. Not every player likes taking a risk, and those would prefer to play it safe should have a fixed reward options that do rely on RNG. The next run of the Dreamscape event, we'll make sure to include fixed reward options for these players. Global launch celebration. Oh, so yeah, okay. So our game will officially be available in many more parts of the world. Stay tuned for playing competitively against players in regions like China, Japan, South Korea, and more. Pretty exciting. I mean, having more competition for PvP, more servers is always going to end up being a good thing. What's next? This is just a snapshot of what's in motion behind the scenes. We continue our best efforts forward for all of our regions so that we can have more exciting competitions in the future. More importantly, we're here to listen. Please continue sharing your feedback while making sure to stay constructive and organized so we can properly digest everything. This directly shapes where we go from here, and that is emphasized for all regions. We'll all be competing in future tournaments together, so every voice matters. Stay tuned for our upcoming midweek patch notes to hear more specific details and dates for topics mentioned today. That should be a huge part of this journey. We hope to see many of you excited about the future of Etheria. All right, and that's the end of the developer update. Overall, I think this is a pretty good set of notes. It's pretty transparent. They let me know exactly where they stand. Feedback, I think, from this point is going to be very crucial from everybody. Let your voices be heard. Jump in that Discord, give feedback. I personally have sent the devs like a really long, 5-paragraph list of things that I'm not happy with in the game. But it looks like they are well aware that people are not happy with large portions of the game, and they are actively looking to fix them. And that is pretty much the big selling point, I feel like, for this game right now. It's the main reason why I'm still talking about it, why I'm still playing it. I haven't given up on it yet, is because the devs have shown me that they are willing to make changes, and that is a very rare thing. Only Shift Up I have seen has really tried to make this concerted level of take this level of criticism and make huge sweeping adjustments, doing exactly what the community wants. I think from here it's going to come down to, do they make the right decisions based on the feedback? And I really would, again, like them to not try to sell you solutions for PvE content that is meant to be base form PvE content. If it was challenging content, like how we had Cage Rumble when it first came out, or if they decided to do another event, something that's a limited time event, I think I'm okay with you structuring a banner alongside of that. But core content that players need just to be able to play the game, yeah, I don't like selling you a solution for that. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on everything that is here in this patch. Are you still playing Etheria? Are you still enjoying it? I would love to know your thoughts on the game at all down in the comment section below, so I could forward that over to the dev team. Because right now, like I said, I have a lot of different groups that I talk to. I have a group that is very dedicated, passionate, loves the game. I've heard from a lot of people that don't really enjoy the game. Does this set of dev notes do it for you? Does this make you optimistic about the game, want to jump back into the game? Things like that. Would love to hear any and all comments. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later now.